Hello and welcome. Cy Rodriguez here again, driving up to Telluride, and you can see the view outside. And no, this is not the same video as before, even though it looks the same because you're seeing the same type of scenery. See when I'm driving in? But I have a special message today, and this message is one that's an emotional message, and I'm making it for myself because I feel like it's important for me to express this. I'm making it for you, whoever's watching, because I think that the message that I have is one that is inspiring and that might create some thankfulness for somebody else as well. And I'm also doing this because I want anybody in my family to be able to reference this, because this is a tribute to my uncles and aunts in my family. And the reason I'm doing this is not because of I want people to think of how nice I am because I would say something nice about my uncles and aunts. In fact, it's just the exact opposite of that. I was just thinking about things today, and I was starting to feel emotional. I had been thinking recently about my uncles and aunts and how I wanted to somehow let them know how meaningful they are to me in my life. And when I was thinking about them today, I just realized that it's because of how great of a family I have. And I have felt for so long like I'm some special person. And I know now why I feel so special. And it's because of this amazing, awesome family that I have. And I just wanted to say thank you to them, because they have given me so much. And they are all people who love God, and they came from two amazing parents, Francis and Marie Kintzley, who were Catholic and had 15 children altogether, 14 born from my grandma, and then she adopted an African American named Matt, who is also my uncle. So I really do have a black uncle. And anyway, starting with my Uncle Pat, one of the strongest people in the whole world. I'm not joking. I mean, there might be stronger men in some level, but this guy would let people hit him in the belly with a sledgehammer, and he could lift things that three people together couldn't lift. Big heart and a lot of pride, and always respected him growing up and always looked for his approval, as I did with all my uncles and aunts. And then there is Uncle Ray, super smart man with a giant vocabulary, always inspiring by the way that he is, not only with his vocabulary, but the way he lives his life and the things that he has done, and his generosity, because he's done well for himself and he's been very generous with what he has had for everybody, at least everybody that I know of. And just a great person, fun to play sports with and good to talk with. And then there's my Uncle Rich, who is steady, strong, who I always think of when I go hiking, who could go forever hiking, and who is in his 70s and just still unbelievable human being. And just have immense respect for him, and he's such a clear, humble person. And then there is my Uncle Mark, who I grew up next to, who was my godfather, but who always treated me like one of his own kids, and who I love very much, and who still treats me with respect to this day, and who has always been a good guiding force in my life. And then there's my mom. Mom, I love you. My mom is just a good-hearted person who just wants everybody to love God, and God bless her because she has a beautiful soul and she's a very, very good person. Then there's my Aunt Carol, who is the most willful person in the world. Red hair, Irish spirit, and who is just a good-hearted person who loves God as well, and who is very blatantly honest. If you're around my Aunt Carol, you definitely know who you are around and what she believes, because she's not going to sugarcoat anything. And I love you, Aunt Carol. And my Aunt Teresa, who used to be married and now is a nun, who I always remember for smiling, being a beautiful person who always was there with us when we were kids. One of my aunts who was around and who basically was listening to us as kids. And there's my Aunt Rose, who is just another strong person who has always loved God and always been there and been such a sweetheart to me. And it's hard to go through this video because I could say so much about each one of these individual people. But Aunt Rose, just a very, very good person, and person who really loves God. And then my Uncle Tom, who is the only one in our family, luckily, who has had one of his children die, who died very young of cancer. And nobody else has had a kid in our family die, which we're thankful for. But my Uncle Tom, just a very, very good person who's humble and at the same time stubborn, but just a good-hearted person who feels a lot and has a beautiful wife that supports and loves him very much. And saying that Uncle Tom's wife is beautiful, didn't want to leave out any of the other in-laws, because all of the in-laws of Kintzley's have to be beautiful people to be with our family, because our family is a very, very strong-willed family, and when you come into our family, you become a part of it. And so everybody who has stuck with our family is somebody that is somebody special. And I know for everybody who's listening who is not part of my family, I don't blame you if this is too much to listen to, but if it inspires you or makes you feel good in some way, then I'm glad you're listening. So, moving on from, where did I leave off? From Uncle Tom to my Uncle Dennis, who always played with me as a kid and who still plays as an adult, who is just a good guy, who is basically open to who you are and he just feel like he accepts you for who you are, and he sees you for who you are. And then there's my Aunt Sheila, who is one of the most loyal people in the entire world. Such a good heart, and somebody who just loves God with her whole self, and who has been very patient and kind with people in her life, and been a very forgiving person of people in her life. And my Aunt Joan, who has endured hardships in life physically, but has had such a strong will and just always been a good and loving person. And somebody who even had us over her house with her own kids and made us pizzas when we were kids. Good person, Aunt Joan. And then my Uncle Mike, who is like a man, who is the mountain man with the biggest beard in the world, who I also always remember playing with us as kids and taking us up hiking and fishing and all of this kind of stuff. And just unbelievably solid person throughout the whole time that I've ever known him. He's always been the same, and just somebody who I immensely respect. And then my Uncle Phil, who's one of my other fun uncles, who has always been there playing with us as kids and has never stopped playing even into his adult life, and is there for his grandkids and for his own kids and their sports and everything, and who has just got a sense of humor like nobody else, who is just amazingly awesome person who I love very much. And then there's my Uncle Matt, who has had a very hard life in a lot of ways. And I remember him teaching us as young kids to be Marines. We went through boot camp with my Uncle Matt, and he would say, "Thunder lips to the flesh," and kiss his muscles that were pretty big, actually. He worked on them pretty good. And Uncle Matt definitely had some hard times, but he always treated me with respect, and I appreciate who he is and what I've become as a result of him too, and what he was in his own family. So, all of these things being said, now you know a little bit more about me. I didn't intend to be as emotional as I have been, but that's part of who I am, and I wanted to share it. And to all my uncles and aunts and mom and that part of my family, I love you guys, and definitely don't treat me any different because of this video. So that's all for now, and I will see you next time.